Welcome to Life's Rich Tapestry. Now, I've been gone for a few weeks. I was in Florida just dealing with a few family issues. But in the meantime, while I was in Florida, I was able to interview a few people. The next person that I have lined up, she gives me a bit of insight into her full life of 100 years. Welcome to Life's Rich Tapestry, a podcast exploring the narrative of people's layered lives. Listen in on courageous conversations spoken from the heart. Gain insight into another's life as we tackle compelling topics which will expand your mind, help you gain perspective, and might even inspire you to do things differently. My name is Evelyn, and I look forward to your company. It is very rare in life when you get to meet someone who is 100 years old. Individuals aged 100 or older, they make up less than 1% of the United States population. And about 85% of them are women. I don't know if you knew that, Helen. But today I am with Helen, who has just recently moved into the Blake, which is a newly opened resort-style assisted living facility here in Viera, Florida. Yes. And I'd like to welcome you to my show today. I'm so grateful to have you with me today.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and I just, all stories start at the beginning. So I just want to know where you were born, and just tell me a little bit about your family.
All right. I was born in Chicago, Illinois, and we lived in Chicago for a while, and then, of course, moved out to Brookfield, Illinois, and then we moved out to Berwyn, Illinois, and then when I was married, we moved out to Lombard, Illinois.
And you tell me what day you were born and what year?
January 5, 1923.
1923. Yes. 1923. Now, that was before the Depression, before World War II. Do you remember anything about that age?
I don't remember anything about the Depression. I do remember we had to, whenever we bought fruit, we had to count out our berries, if we had strawberries or whatever we had. And it was kind of fun. Get 6 grapes, but I don't know that I understood why. It was just okay. It didn't matter to us. We didn't have to have a bowl of fruit or a bowl of this. We didn't get as much as they have now. You find children with bags of, fruit and bags of candy and bags, anything they want. We never had that, but we never minded. We thought that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
So when we would come home from the grocery store, my mother had I'm thinking of grapes more than anything. And she would count, there were 4 of us children, and she would count out, maybe give us 6 grapes apiece. And that was fine. We didn't complain about, can I have more or whatever.
Yeah.
But I didn't understand it because we did live at that time, we lived in a very pretty house in Brookfield, Illinois. And things were simple. Whatever you did it with your family. Families were all in the same town or adjoining towns. You had all your aunts and your uncles and your cousins, everyone living. You were never alone. You were so surrounded by family.
And not like it is today.
Not like it is today, where your children are all spread out. Their jobs are taking them, television
right.
is television and your internet, everything is
totally different. So how did you meet your husband?
How did we what?
Your husband. How did you meet your husband?
Oh, I met my husband. I had just broken up with another young man that I had been going steady with because he made fun of my religion.
Oh.
And I am a Catholic. And I didn't like that. There was something about it so I went to our priest and I explained it to him, and all he said was, "You're young, wait, you have a lot of time."
Yeah.
Which I did. So the boy and I willingly we broke up.
Okay.
And he was a very nice person, very nice person. And then my best girlfriend's father was at his sister's house in Chicago. We were living out in Berwyn. And he has his nephew, young man, I think he was 19 at the time, and my girlfriend's uncle, my girlfriend's father rather, said, how would you like it? I'll make a date for you. I know I got a girl. And he didn't care whether we did or not, so we had a blind date.
Oh,
because he was my best girlfriend's cousin, so
Oh, okay.
So he lived way in Chicago, and I lived out in the suburbs, So you had to take an elevated train to get out to where. But so we did. We had our first date, and then he asked for a second date, which was fine. And his mother called during the week and said he was sick. He couldn't make the second date. And I thought, well, that's the story. Okay. That's the way it goes.
Yeah.
And then he called back and said he had pneumonia. Oh. So could I have another date? So on his second date, he brought me a 5-pound box of candy.
Oh, wow.
And that was a hit.
And how old were you at the time?
That was in 1942.
Okay.
So I was 19?
You were 19. How old was he?
Walter was a year older than I am.
He was a year older than you. So I know you shared with me that he actually did go into World War II.
Yeah. We dated from 42 he was gone from 42 to 46. We dated from April to November.
Okay.
And then he went into the military.
Okay.
And then he went into the Army. And we wrote every single day.
Wow.
I wrote to him and he wrote to me. We became engaged half that time. And then when, of course, the war was over, he came home in January of 46. And we were married in June of 46. We were very anxious. Of course, there were no apartments. So I had a friend who had a bungalow. A bungalow would be have a basement and an attic, and he had they had this little 1-bedroom apartment downstairs. We had to share the bathroom with another couple. the Browns, very nice people, and it had a little teeny kitchen that we could cook in, but sharing the bathroom, and we did that. We lived that way for I think 2 years. And of course, we both worked, so It didn't matter. We'd have to take the elevator. Yeah. I worked at the City National Bank and Trust Company of Chicago in the Loop, Chicago, and Walter worked at Western Electric, and we just got along fine. I mean, you don't mind. You didn't have anything, and I remember one night, we slept on a studio couch that you had to pull out the mattress. And something broke, so we had them come and pick it up, but we didn't know when they were going to pick it up. And while we were out getting our malt, we used to go out and have malted milks every other night or so. Mm-hmm. They came and picked it up, so we had to sleep with our bed tire on the floor, on the cement floor.
Yeah.
And we had an ice box. And I had to have an ice man bring ice into that ice box that was in the hallway.
So that's how the refrigeration worked, just having a block of ice.
That's right.
Wow.
A block of ice into the ice box.
Wow. So that's why it's called ice box.
I
never knew that. There you go.
You didn't know about ice boxes?
No.
Oh, my gracious.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yes. And of course, you had a water container underneath the bottom, that it would melt. And this ice box was out in the hallway. It wasn't in our apartment. And I had an uncle who was a milkman, so he always brought us milk every day. You had your milk brought to you every day.
It's so different.
You didn't know you had a milkman.
So when did your children start to be born?
Well, then we were married in 1946 when Walter got back, in June 1st, 1946. And I tried so hard to have children. I had 2 miscarriages before I had my first one.
Okay.
And then we had another one, a boy. Then my daughter was first, and my son Robert, and then I waited 4 years, and then Bob and Peter, and Peter was our youngest. Lynn, Robert, David, Jeffrey, and Peter.
Okay.
And I did lose one after Peter, so I did lose 4, and I would go to about 3 or 4 months.
Wow. So when you lost 4, they were all miscarriages, or were they stillbirths? They were miscarriages.
The first 2 they were all miscarriages.
All miscarriages. Yeah. Okay.
And I thought I'd never have any children. Everyone was having children but me, and here I ended up with 5.
Oh, wow.
And my first one was born when I was 29.
Wow.
So I was not,
So you weren't young. I mean,
well, I wasn't
29
young.
is still young.
That's
but,
right.
But back then, that probably would have been considered a bit older.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so when did you move to Florida, though? So were they all born in Chicago?
They were all born in Elmhurst, Illinois. Yeah.
Illinois. Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, I didn't work at that time, and all the children went to the Catholic school. Mm-hmm. And we had we built our home our first new home in Lombard, Illinois. We had the 5 children. We lived in a wonderful neighborhood. There were so many children, and everything was lovely. Everything was nice. The children could go out and play without any concern about drugs or anything. We didn't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
And then my husband was offered a job in Florida. Mm-hmm. He had worked for Riddell, which is a football helmet, an athletic good company, and he worked for them for about 17 years, and then he accepted this job in Leesburg, Florida. Okay. Southern Athletic is the name of the company, and he wanted to manage it. I didn't want to go. Oh, I prayed so hard. I didn't want to leave my family. See here, this is when it all started, the people moving on with their jobs.
Yeah.
And so I did come. I didn't come. I didn't like it. I needed to find something for me, so I went to work. Mm-hmm. When our youngest was 2, and the children all cooperated so well. And I went to work at the SunTrust banks, and I retired from there after 13 years. But that was the best thing I could do for myself. Yeah, I had to really find something. Yeah. I didn't like Florida in 1968. Was in a little town, and it was not what I thought it was. I didn't think that was Florida.
Did you start to like it a little bit better when you started working, or?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I found out I wasn't very stupid. I was pretty smart. And it worked out well. And I had the children each had their own bed. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 beds to make. But we washed our sheets every single week, and everybody put their own sheets back on their own bed.
Wow!
They had to peel the potatoes. I had a list, and we had a dog. We had a dog, Brandy. Mm-hmm. So here were my 5 children, and they never got into trouble.
Wow! So you disciplined them well with your husband.
He was very strict. He was very strict. He cut the grass one way, and he'd have it cut opposite way too. But and they all helped, and he made them all. But Walter was, I don't mean being strict, but they knew we meant business. They couldn't.
Well, they had respect for you.
I guess so. They had a lot of love for us.
Yeah.
And school the boys got along. My daughter never did like it there in Leesburg.
Oh, okay. So did she move away as soon as she...
No, now she's living in Mount Dora, which is 2 towns from... And she said, Mom, wouldn't you know I'm the one who didn't like Florida. She had a boyfriend before we left, a high school boyfriend. And she said, Mom, you never liked to hear how... Of course, they tell me now, you never liked Florida. Why didn't you go now? And I said, well, where am I going to go? Of course, the way I live now is not the way it was back in 68. It was different. It was it was very it was a small town, 18,000 people. Very nice. They went to football games, and they all dressed up in skirts and nylons and high heels,
How did you actually, so Leesburg, I know, is kind of in the middle of Florida.
South, yeah.
And so how did you end up here in this part of Florida?
Well, I worked in Leesburg, and then we moved to another home around Silver Lake. And Silver Lake had a country club, which was the best thing in the world that could have happened to Walter and I. So we golfed a lot, and we have our son David. 3 of the boys went into the military.
Yeah.
One was in the Army. My husband was Army. One was in the Navy, one was in the Air Force, and one was in the Marines. And they were each there for 30 years, so they had careers. They were officers. And David, our son, who lives here in Viera, he didn't want to go into the service. He wanted to play golf. Okay. So he is a PGA golf pro.
Yeah.
Here he's now taking care of us here in Viera.
Yeah. When did you start playing golf?
I started playing golf when I was back in Illinois, just fooling around with the game. Okay. When we came to Florida, my son, being a golf pro, encouraged us. He bought us a golf cart, which we kept in our garage, and played golf. We played golf 3 or 4 times a week.
Wow.
And we were nice. I think we were pretty good golfers.
So, it's something that you and your husband really enjoyed doing.
We did together.
You did that together.
We spend our weekends, every weekend together golfing. You'd golf with other couples, and that was absolutely the best thing that could happen to any couple. All I say, if you could just do something together.
Yeah, and do something that you love. You both obviously loved the game and loved being outside. Right. So when you look at your longevity, and your husband also lived 99. Right. Is there anything you can say really made you live that long of a life, or is there?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I think our religion, we prayed, Walter prayed a lot.
Okay.
Till his dying day.
Yeah.
And I pray a lot now. I find it helps me.
Yeah.
And I think I think it was our religion that kept us. It keeps you from getting depressed. It keeps you from. God is so important in your lives. I try to tell that to our children. That I don't care what religion you are, or if you're Jewish, you believe in God, whatever religion, but believe that there is a God, and God can help you. All you have to do is talk to Him.
Yeah.
All you have to do is ask.
Yeah. And have you had any challenges in your life where you've had to ask for God's help even more, or?
Nothing serious. I had double pneumonia and new knees, 2 new knees, but no, nothing that I can say. My 5 children are wonderful.
Yeah.
They're all very successful in what they're doing. They all call me. The one's in Alaska, he calls once a week. The 2 in Virginia call every week. They call every week. They FaceTime.
Yeah, I think you've had a few calls as we've been talking here as well. The phone's been dinging a lot. You're very popular. I know you're very popular. Yeah. So this faith in God, you've passed this down to all of your children.
I certainly did, yeah.
And they also followed as well. So you feel that this has been probably
they believe in God. They haven't all kept their faith in the Catholic Church, but they say they are Catholic and they do believe in God.
Yeah.
And I find that's the most important thing is you have to be a good person inside.
Yes. Yeah.
You have to have faith. Have faith in God. But they're good whether they're Catholic or not. I don't mean you have to be Catholic to go to heaven. Because anybody, they're all very good. None of them have gotten into drugs, thank God. But of course, we didn't have drugs way back when they were little. Maybe they were there, but we didn't know about them.
Yeah, and share with me how many grandchildren you have.
I have 10 grandchildren and 17 great grandchildren.
Wow.
And 5 children, of course. So everything is beautiful family. And it's too bad we all aren't in Viera, but we're so spread out. Alaska, Virginia, Colorado, California, Australia. You know.
Yeah. Now, so with independent living or with being in an assisted living facility, when did you decide to move into a facility to help you get around?
Our son, David, I do have long-term care insurance, which certainly helps. Our son told us to move from Leesburg to Viera. His wife sells real estate. So she did find a little condo that they bought the condo and asked if we'd come and rent from them, that they thought we should be closer to them because we were like 95 or so. And that was the best thing we could have done. We moved to Heritage Isle here in Viera and lived there for 5 years.
Okay.
And then my husband became, his legs were swelling and so he was able to use his long-term care insurance, and we moved to the Sonata Assisted Living.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we stayed there till he was there 2.5 years, and then he passed away. And they suggested I move to Sonata Independent Living, which is a fantastic place. And I lived there for about a year and a half. And then my doctor felt I'm getting close to 100. He thought it would be a good idea for me to go into assisted living. So this facility, the Blake, was just being built. And I was one of the first ones in here.
Yeah.
And here I am I asked myself, how did I ever get in this gorgeous place?
Yeah, it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful.
How did all this ever happen? I asked, how did I ever how was I so fortunate?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
And do you, I was going to ask you if, now that you've turned this milestone age, which really not many people get to, do you find it's changed you a little bit or you just think, wow? Or
no, once I'm over 100, I don't talk about it anymore.
Okay. Okay.
I can't. Everybody seems shocked, even when I go to the dentist. They don't know what to do for me as far as I'm going to have 2 teeth pulled.
Yeah.
And they're afraid to, put me through all this. But it's okay.
Yeah, because you have such a good attitude, and there's this beautiful bright spark around you.
Yeah.
What do you think keeps you so positive, though?
I don't know. I think it's my faith.
Yeah, I think so too.
I do, yes. I do love my faith, and I say my rosary every day.
Yeah.
And I'm fortunate that I'm not hurting.
Yeah.
And I can walk,
Yeah.
I can walk, I keep walking. I like to walk.
Yeah.
And that's the best thing a person can do keep your legs strong so you can,
So as far as that goes,
I don't know,
have you had a certain diet or?
No.
No.
You saw my big bag of candy over there.
Okay. And of course you didn't smoke or
I
drink
used to
alcohol
smoke.
or anything like that?
I think I smoked when I worked in the banks in Chicago. It was what you did. You went up and had a cup of coffee, and it was to be done, But no, I didn't. And yes, we had our cocktails and cocktail parties with friends.
Yeah.
I think golfing had a lot to do with it. When I think about it, we were outside. We were with friends, and all you worry about is that little ball. It's being. I think it's being with people.
Being with people, probably being in the moment too.
Being with people, and yes, even here, if I sit in here and don't do anything with anyone, you kind of get down, and I forced myself to go play bingo.
Yeah.
And I won the biggest pot today.
There you go. That's great.
We play for a quarter, it isn't much.
Yeah, but still, it adds up. That's really good. That's good.
Everything's...
Yeah, and what do you, like when you look back on your life, what has been the biggest lesson that you've learned? Or is there something that...
I guess to accept things as they happen and handle it. And this is what I always tell them. So this is what you're going to do. As I tell my daughter, she's going to have a new ankle. I said, handle it. And she said, I will, Mom.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you just have to learn to handle whatever whatever comes along. Whatever problem comes along, handle it.
Just deal with it.
Deal with it.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And if there were 3 words that could describe your life, what were the 3 words that you would choose?
I'm very fortunate. I am so fortunate. You have no idea, there are not that many people who are married 76 years, And God has been so good to us. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. 76 years.
76 years.
Wow.
And they were married 76 years in June, and Walter passed away in July.
Wow, and to be together all that time.
To be together all that time. And I was so happy I could be there with him while he was going through bad times and almost dementia. But I could help him, show him where to put his toothbrush or where to put his hearing aids. And here, for an intelligent man, he couldn't remember, what do I do with this? And I said, well, honey, you put it there, But you have to have such patience with people in the way they're.
Yeah.
But it worked out. Everything worked out just so fine. So everything just seems to be working out. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I'm very, very happy and very, very lucky.
Yeah.
I don't. The more I talk to people, when what they're going through, and I think, why am I so lucky?
Yeah. So that must be the answer. Just being happy and being around people. And
I guess so.
Yeah, your faith and having a good partner.
Having your faith and having good children, and they're all call me. I hear from all of them every week.
Yeah.
And I have a son, of course. My daughter lives in Mount Dora, which is 62 miles away. And David and his wife, I have an excellent daughter-in-law, Deborah, who is, they don't even want me to do anything. They think they want to take care of everything for me, but I'm still taking care of everything.
So being independent too, that's very important to you as well.
Yeah.
And one thing I have noticed is, as you're on Instagram, you're on all these social media, so you keep up with the technology.
You have to keep up. I never liked playing bingo, but I made myself go because you're meeting people.
Yeah.
And you're not doing anything but putting little stickers on cards. Mm-hmm. I never would play. I didn't ever wanted to do it. It was so boring. Mm-hmm. But it's meeting the people you're sitting there with, meeting people. Okay. I think that's very, very important. Living in a small place like this. I mean, it's a large place, but there aren't many people. Just about 40 rooms filled out of the 65.
Yeah.
But you get to know everyone,
Yeah, that's lovely. Now, when you think of your end of life, I don't know if you've thought about that.
Oh, I certainly have.
Yeah. Have you thought about what you would like done during your end of life, or a song? Have you thought about a song?
Oh, I have it all done. It's all taken care of.
Oh, that's lovely.
It's all taken care of.
That's lovely. And could you share with us what your funeral song is?
What?
Your funeral song. Have you thought of a funeral song?
I can't remember.
Okay. But it's written down.
Well, when we moved here in 2014, my husband insisted we go to the church and plan our funerals are paid for. I mean, we have all that.
Yeah.
But we went to the church and picked out all that.
Oh, that's lovely.
I can't remember.
That's okay.
Maybe I can change my mind.
Okay. Oh no, I love that. So
planning is very important.
Yes, I think that's another good thing. And you're just so happy and positive. I love that. I absolutely love that. So if you could just say to anybody who's nearing the age of 100, or maybe not even nearing the age of 100, but maybe feels down about life, that why should they be living now? What sort of advice would you give anyone?
I guess live each day to its fullest. But don't do it alone. Don't sit in your room and be depressed. Get out with people, be with people.
Yeah.
And you'd be amazed how many people feel like you do.
Yeah.
And just keep being with people. I like being with people.
Yeah.
And I used to be rather shy a long time ago. I never would have done this.
Yeah.
And I just wish I had this attitude years ago.
Okay.
I wished I was very shy, never would speak up for myself.
Yeah.
And I thought, now I'm doing it. My children think it's because I'm an old lady. And, people listen to me because I'm an old lady. But if only I had known so much, if I had known things years ago about how to act. But I guess that's the same with everybody.
Yeah. I guess that's true as well.
Just keep yourself moving. Is all I can say. Keep yourself moving, doing. I try to encourage all the ladies here to computer or get involved with this because this is the way the world's going to go.
Exactly. And you embrace that. I love that you actually embrace all of this new technology,
right.
Whereas other people can use it as an excuse, not say I'm too old to do that, but you don't at all.
Oh, it's wonderful. Well, the children have pushed me though. See, I didn't want a microwave. Why would I need a microwave just to warm up a cup of water? I didn't, so they got me the microwave. I didn't think I needed that, but all of this was moving so fast.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the television came into, and then the microwave, and then computers. That little what do you call it? Little mouse.
Yeah.
Using the mouse was difficult. Who'd want to do that?
Yeah.
But the more they pushed me into
you.
it. My children did.
And now that you do it, it's fabulous.
I can help them.
You can help them. I know you helped me the other day. You're very good.
Yeah.
And so I'm so grateful that you've done this interview with me. Thank you
so much.
And I'll have it. Yes, and this will be a beautiful legacy item for your family as well.
Be happy. Yeah. I did get my picture on a jelly jar.
Oh, did you? Oh, okay, there you go. Because in some countries like Australia and England, they usually get a letter from the Queen.
Oh, do they?
They turn 100. Now it's the letter from the King.
That, yeah.
So when you turn 100 in America, you get your photo on a
jelly jar.
Jelly jar. Oh, on a jelly jar.
Oh, I didn't show it to you.
No.
Oh, I'll have to show it to you.
Oh, you have to show. Oh my goodness, I didn't realize. Is that really what they do in America?
There's a program on television.
Okay.
And they had jelly jars.
Okay.
And your pictures on the jar.
Okay.
When you get 100, so they would show the So I decided I wanted my picture on the jelly jar.
I love it. Thank you again so much for.
You're welcome. Thank you for asking me.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your company. I hope you enjoyed today's episode with Helen. I look forward to your company next time here on Life's Rich Tapestry.